Okay. So now I'm live. I again still have to get used to this and see if my laptop is even capable of streaming. But you know what? We'll roll with what we're having now. Um, and we'll just go with it. Afterwards, I'll obviously also be able to see how the stream went in the video form. So yeah, okay. Now we are finally live. We'll see how many people will join. Every day is a learning experience. And yeah, let's see how many people are willing to join. I sadly had to end the previous stream, so like 5 minutes ago. Let's see how many people will be here. So, hi. So, okay, you're back, Carson and Harshith. I hope I pronounced the names correctly. How are you, my people? So, okay, exciting stuff. Streaming for the first time, right? Let's see. Well, for those watching live and for those watching the YouTube video afterwards, the point of the stream is pretty much just to get to know each other on a more personal level, right? I make these videos where I try to share the knowledge that I have, right? I mean, for the sake for what that's worth. And I mean, yeah, I think it's nice to just build a more personal relationship, just so you guys get to know who I am. And yes, for me to see who this ML tribe is. So yeah, the point of the stream is just to get to know each other. You can ask me anything you want. I will, if there are no questions, I will just try and talk a bit about myself and introduce myself, give as much backstory as I can, and yeah, we'll just see how the stream goes. So what's happening here? Okay, and for those watching at the moment, you can always say if the stream quality is terrible or if it's okay. So yeah. Okay. Well, Carson, my man, has a question. I'm planning to have an elective called data science. Difference or similarities about data science and machine learning. So, difference between data science and machine learning engineering. Well, I actually fairly recently read a nice article or blog post about this, and the broad difference or the general difference is that data scientists are more on a higher level regarding machine learning. So they are responsible for really analyzing data, applying different analysis methods, right? They are more towards the business side of machine learning and they apply machine learning, right? You can think of a company that collects tons of or terabytes of user data, and the data scientist or data analyst, in that case, it's fairly similar, will look at the data, have some have some techniques to analyze the data, very visual stuff, right? A lot of plots. Yeah, data science is applied machine learning, but well, there's a lot of applied machine learning, but data science is applies machine learning models by using already pre-existing libraries mostly, and apply it but a large part of their work lies in analyzing the data and seeing and then inferring and then like thinking about what model they can apply. Machine learning engineers, on the other hand, are more similar to machine learning researchers, I would say. It really depends on the job you're working at. But machine learning engineers are more in depth. They not only analyze the data, but they also train models, right? And they also go more into depth into the training process. They have again visualization tools to visualize the training process, right? How the gradients behave, how the initialization takes place, and they are more in depth into this process of training and handle a bit more complex problems, I would say, or possibly, right? And another big difference is that they are also responsible for deploying such a model and maintaining the model and always continuing to tune the model. For data scientists, they even have like auto ML tools, right? Where they simply clean up the data, analyze the data, and then pump it into a pipeline, which then on its own automatically selects the best model, does cross-validation, like trains different models and then selects the best one and stuff like that. So that was a fairly extensive explanation. And I mean, I'm not no expert. I'm still just a student, but I read quite a bit on that topic. So yeah, that's my response. So let's go back to the chat. Rodrigo, hi Rodrigo. How are you, my buddy? Hashif, hi bro, I'm going to college in a few months. I'm confused between software and data science. Any session, bro, which one to take? So, software, like with software science, I believe you are referring to computer science or data science. So, when it comes to data science, it includes a lot of software engineering and computer science, but really the focus is on applying it to analyze data, analyzing statistics, doing statistics, and you will possibly, I believe, have more maths, right? Data. So computer science or software science or engineering also includes a lot more basic software engineering fundamentals, like how does the internet work? How can you implement algorithms other than just for data science and analysis? I would say if you really want to go into data analysis and data science and also into machine learning in a really just pretty narrow road, I would say, go for data science. But for me personally, I would go for software science or software engineering or computer science, just because from there on you can easily branch into data science and you have just a bigger toolkit to work on more complex stuff or build out apps. And a really great advantage of software engineers in general is their versatility, right? They can pretty much do a lot of stuff when it comes to building apps, dashboards on the internet, going into a bit lower level software engineering, and apply their software engineering skills to data science and then specialize into data science further down the road. So that's something that I would take into consideration. But again, you have to see really look at the like programs at your university where you want to apply to and look at the key differences in the courses. But yeah, in general, computer science offers a broader toolkit and you can do a lot more than with pure data science, and you can just like pivot into data science. It's not a huge pivot, but just specialize more into data science later on. Okay, I hope that response or that answer was satisfying. Let's see, Rodrigo. Doing great. I'm really happy to hear that. Going through second year computer engineering. Second year computer engineering. Yeah, computer engineering. I really love computer engineering. Again, I always say that I again would do computer engineering over computer science in my bachelor's. I think it is way more fun and you just learn a lot more different things that are just useful in general. Um, I am working, I'm waiting for the semester to start, more or less. I'm working on little side projects, just playing around with code, trying to get more and more machine learning experience, right? Um, so yeah, I'm waiting for the storm to appear when the semester starts, but I think the semester should be fairly relaxed. I'm excited to see how the stream goes and how the quality is and how useful it is for people. Um, yeah. Oh, and something funny where I always talk about computer engineering is so nice. Also, if you even if you want to go into like machine learning, since machine learning again you apply to certain domains, it's really a huge mesh of different domains or concepts that you take from the one area and apply in the other area. For example, this new Whisper model works with audio data. And how do you encode audio data? Well, you use something like Fourier analysis and do some spectrograms. And I learned that fairly in depth in my computer engineering program, bachelor program, because you there quite often apply that. I don't know, Rodrigo, if you're familiar with Fourier analysis, but second year computer engineering, I think you should have had Fourier analysis. So, I'm from India. After finishing, I'm planning to do my master's in TU Munich or any other college in Germany. That's a very good idea. Also from the suggestions, I think I will go to software science. Okay, we can go to data science after if we are interested. Yeah, so again, you shouldn't be too focused on what particular degree you want to go in. Like the name itself is pretty irrelevant. Again, you can't expect if you're doing software engineering or computer science to have the same skills as a mechanical engineer, right? But whether you're doing computer science or data science or even mathematics for machine learning, for example, you can pretty much apply to most jobs with that degree, right? It depends on the skill set that you have. And if you look at LinkedIn, for example, job listings, they will always say something like degree in computer science or data science or mathematics or statistics or similar degrees, right? So, mm, sorry, in the end, you should just look at the programs and look at what is different in those programs, if there are different mandatory courses, ones that you like and ones that you don't like. But with software engineering, you can obviously do data science. You will perhaps just have to take one or two more electives where you just learn a bit more data analysis methods. But again, if you really want to go into one area, you will have to work on projects and try to apply your skills. And by doing that, you will learn even more. And yeah, in general, don't be too scared to go into computer science or data science. The degree in the end is not that relevant, right? They are very similar, so it just comes down to your skill set and your practical experience. Okay. Carson. I know the company called KUKA, Industrial Robotics, and it's amazing what they're doing. What's your opinion about getting SAP certification? I haven't heard about KUKA. And with SAP, do you mean the software company, like I believe SAP is German, the like software company? Um, I wait for that response. Rodrigo, that's great to hear. I would like to get some machine learning thing too, actually. Well, I'm just starting my second year. I'm taking Java and Calculus too. Taylor series and yeah. So Java, I think you will. everyone will have one course in Java just to get to know object-oriented programming. That's often a introduction language for learning how to work with object-oriented programming. Calculus 2, it might seem tough, but I think it's fun actually. And when it comes to Calculus 2 and something like Taylor series expansions and differential equations, those things might seem like, why should you learn those? And they might not make that much sense at the moment, but after you finish your bachelor, for example, or you get into higher level courses, everything comes together and I had that course and I had that course, everything makes sense now. So yeah. Okay, Carson. Yeah, okay, SAP, yeah, okay. Well, I think certificates make sense in the sense that you learn stuff there. Which certificates are more valuable than others? I'm no expert. There are several like cloud computing certificates, machine learning certificates on different websites, and I would definitely say the SAP certificate is also a good one, but I don't know if it's like so it will definitely not be like a one certificate for everything type situation, right? It's I'm no expert. I don't know many people that have certificates or work with certificates. I think they are good to have and they're a nice add-on. But in the end, it comes down to what you are capable of doing. And I think, especially with larger companies, they value more like real projects where you can talk about what problems you have solved. And certificates are like more of a, yeah, it's like learning new skills, but in a more encapsulated environment, right? Those are specific little problems that they have designed for you to solve. But it's definitely nice to have, but I wouldn't completely rely on those. Yeah, project-based learning is pretty nice. I think I would recommend a good balance between like a theoretical part of learning, right? Theory courses, but mainly project-based learning, especially if you want to go into engineering, right? If you want to be a completely theoretical researcher, then obviously you have to have a lot of theoretical knowledge. But project-based learning is definitely something that, in my experience, teaches a lot, and a lot of companies really like to see that and to see what you have implemented, what problem you have solved, which libraries you have used, for example, and that showcases it way better than, well, I've taken this and this course. Like, a lot of people can take the course, right? But when you're developing out a project, I think it has more power to it. Okay, let's go back to chat. Rodrigo, exactly, I'm literally just studying for a math midterm later this week. Well, I have a video on how I study for exams, which is very effective for me. This was the method that I like fine-tuned in like the end of my second year, and since then I had like pretty good grades. But math is like, again, really simple to study in the sense that it's very straightforward. You have to just do exercises, write down the formulas that are really important, and really writes down the little hacks or the little tricks that they use when solving a math problem, because those are the tricky ones, right? Most math problems, you have like a pretty straightforward approach, but at one point you'll get to a tricky part where they want you to apply a little trick, right? Where you want to do a little transformation or substitution or something like that. And those tricks you should definitely write down on a cheat sheet or try to remember. Okay, AMD, my man, how are you? Okay, computer science. TU Berlin, RWTH. So I saw your comment and I responded, right? And out of those four, I would say TU Berlin or RWTH. RWTH is actually a pretty cool university as well. But I have never been to Aachen. I have a friend that was at RWTH Aachen and then changed to TU Berlin. I'm not completely sure what his full reasoning was, but I think both universities are definitely very good. Um, but in the end, you have to look at the differences between the courses, which university focuses more on math, which focuses more on theory, which focuses more on practical exercises or practical lab courses. Sorry. And you also have to take into account in what city you want to live in, right? Berlin is very, very, very international. Aachen a bit less, I would say, but still very fine. But out of those four, I would suggest that you narrow it down to TU Berlin or RWTH Aachen. But again, that's just my opinion and my experience and talking with other people. So you should try and look out for other sources of information and then just build up your opinion, do some more research on your own. Okay. Harsh FB bro also wanted suggestion for the job market after bachelor from India while studying for master in software there. So, especially when you're from India, like there are a lot of people from India here, and again, Berlin is really international. The job market is really large, I guess. I mean, I rarely know have had bad experiences with applying to jobs. Like I pretty much instantly got the jobs that I applied for. I have colleagues that are Indian that are from India, and the language. It's really often the case that inside a company or a research institution or wherever you want to work, um, the language will be English, right? Of course, if like German colleagues talk with each other, they will talk in German, but in meetings or everything, they will definitely have the primary language as English. And for software engineering, you are good to go, right? Again, if you're studying for a master's, you have the working student positions here, which are very nice. You have great advantages with those, and they also are nice for the resume. So I wouldn't be too scared, right? Obviously, you will still have to learn a bit of German, just to be a bit more integrated and have a easier life in general here in Berlin. But honestly, pretty much everyone speaks English, right? Like literally everyone speaks English. So I wouldn't be worried too much. So I definitely have a lot of international colleagues and a lot of that come from India. Okay, Carsten. Um, like theory and practice at the same time. Yeah, Carsten, that's exactly the point. The theory is really nice to know if you get into like the edge cases where you are stumbling over problems and you don't know how to solve them by just debugging or searching on Stack Overflow. And the theory is very nice to have a broad a point you can fall back on where you don't know how to continue with your problem, right? You can just lay back and have a better intuition for every problem that you're trying to solve. And this is also something that Andrej Karpathy talks a lot about, and he loves building up stuff from the ground up, right? And he loves to have this great sense of intuition, which he gets from all of the theoretical knowledge. Um, I would definitely recommend looking him up if you're into machine learning, if you don't already know him. Okay, AMD. I'm good, man. How are you? How's the experience in Germany though? It's like everything in Germany. Okay, again, how's the experience in Germany, Todd? So if you're looking to study in a bachelor program, you will have to have a C1 or C2 level German proficiency test, like a certificate for that. Otherwise, you will just not be able to apply to the programs, or well, you will be able to apply, but you won't get accepted. The computer science program here at the TU Berlin in the masters is in English. So for that, you don't need a German language proficiency test. So in that case, you have no worries about the German language. But in the bachelor's, they require you to have the C1 or C2. But if you just manage to get the C1 or C2 on, like, but don't feel like you are competent enough, that's really no big deal. Don't worry too much. Again, the lectures will be in German, yes, but most people don't remember, but can you explain about yourself? Ah, yes. um, so yeah, my German is fluent since I am native German. But again, just if I've understood, if I want to still be able to respond to your question. I mean, so to bring it to the point, I'm talking way too much. Don't worry, even if you have C1 and C2 and don't feel like too safe, there are enough people that will help you. Pretty much everyone can speak English, and if you have questions, just ask them in English even, or ask them to like the person sitting next to you, and they will be able to respond and help you. And you will quickly learn how to speak German better by just living here in Germany. Okay, so yeah, talk about myself. Well, yeah, I can talk about myself quite a bit but I don't know if it will be too interesting. But yeah, sure. Let me talk about my resume from the beginning of my time. So sure, I was born here in Berlin, right? In the year 2000. So I am 20. So I recently turned 22 years. Um. Oh God. Okay. Yeah. Hello, Yulpai. Who are you? I don't know you. Nah, nah, nah. Yulpi is a nice guy. I know him as well. Um. Oh God. Now people are coming in. Yeah. So again, to continue, I was born here in Berlin in the year 2000. So I am 22 years old. Yes, Camel. The video will be uploaded later. And so I was born here in Berlin. Then I lived here for a bit over 2 years until my brother was born. And then my family and I moved to Africa. So to be precise, Botswana, which is like a country above the country South Africa. And there I lived for like 5-ish years, went to school there, preschool and first class. Then I moved to Bulgaria, right? Because my mother is Bulgarian, so I'm half German, half Bulgarian. And there I lived again for 5 years. So I there went to from second grade to sixth grade. With that said, I can also speak Bulgarian fluently. And with my time living in Africa, like I was born I was raised speaking with 3 languages pretty much in Africa. Like I had to speak English to be able to go to school. At home, I spoke German and Bulgarian. So yeah, after we lived in Bulgaria for like 5 years in the capital called Sofia, I then in 2012 moved to Germany with my family, and since then we stayed here. So here I went then to school from 7th to 12th grade. And from there on, I had a little internship for 6 weeks here at a German little company. Like not little, they are actually fairly large in the domain they are in. It's a pacemaker company, right? It's the first time I came into contact with programming, and I fell in love with it instantly. So I got pretty lucky that I found the thing that I really loved that early on. And from there on, yeah, just most of you probably know the story. Computer engineering, bachelor, and now computer science, specializing in machine learning. So, AMD, thanks, man. Got a lot of things from you. Yeah, yeah. It's the German education system is. Everyone compares the educational systems always with like the top Ivy League US universities, and I did so as well. I was also like, yeah, the German university system is okay, but if you look at MIT and Stanford and stuff like that, that's crazy. It's on a whole nother level. And if you look at it, first of all, it's hella expensive. Second of all, it's really, really difficult to get into those Ivy League universities and Stanford and MIT and Berkeley, which I think is fine, right? It's a really nice pre-selection process. Like, it doesn't mean that you are stupid if you're going to another university. Just getting in as a pre-selection. The content that they teach there is not really different than the content you learn here. Computer science at Berkeley is the same as computer science at the TU Berlin, content-wise. They will not teach different algorithms when it comes to depth first search or something like that, right? It's the same algorithm. The employers like people from those universities because the pre-selection is already done. To get into that university is really difficult. So if you get into there, you will probably already be a very good student, right? Or a very capable one. So that's really the main point of those universities. Again, the content is not that much different. And it's really, again, hella expensive. And every other university that's not Ivy League is, in my opinion, like not worth the money. So yeah, you pretty much learn the same stuff here. Perhaps it's not that flashy, right? They don't have those huge campuses. But you have to just see what you can afford, obviously. And yeah, again, from my experience, I'm really happy with the situation here. I learn great stuff, and yeah, that's that. How's the internship in Germany? Well, I had only one internship. In general, it's not that common to do internships here in Germany. Like, the computer science programs here don't require you to do an internship, for example. But what is a lot more common is working as a working student, right? That's your practical experience that you get when you're in the US, right? You have your 2 terms, 3 terms, and then in summer you have your internship, and every student has to do one internship each year, otherwise they are pretty much lost. And that's where this hunt for internships comes from. But here in Germany, it's not that common. Again, working as a working student is very common, and that's your practical experience that you get. Harshith, pro advice on skills needed for internships while starting a career with no experience. So when it comes to internships and you have like no experience, there are different levels of internships, right? And there are different levels of companies where you can apply to. If you have no experience, it doesn't make much sense to apply for a internship role at Amazon or Fang or whatever, right? When you're in the beginning of your career, go for little startups. Go for anything that you can get where you can work and really do apply some theory, where you can learn a lot, right? The purpose of internships is that you learn a lot, right? So look at startups. They pretty much just don't have the money to expect anyone better. But it's also just a great opportunity for you to learn a lot. And try to work on your own projects, right? University is the one thing, but if they see that you have worked on a project on your own, that be it be it build a responsive website, right? Go to Google or YouTube, look at tutorial how to build a responsive website, and just do it. It doesn't have to be too crazy. I mean, you can work on it for like a few hours and you will see where it goes. But that's really, really nice for employers to see that you already have some experience and that you can already do something, right? If they only see like you're in the second semester of university, they will not expect much. But if they see, okay, you're in second semester of university, but also have worked on certain projects, and you can then explain to them even what you did and which frameworks you used, which language and which algorithms perhaps, they will be impressed. Okay. Um, I do again during my studies. I regarding your question, AMD, I didn't do any internships. Like I did one before I started studying, just to try out this computer science or engineering and programming thing. I just want to see if it's nice, and it was for me. So hooray! But during my studies, I was just always a working student at the Fraunhofer Heinrich Hertz Institute. Perhaps a bit too long, right? I might have wished to change a bit around to try out different companies. But yeah, in the beginning, I was a research assistant in a lab actually, where I worked with optical physics, right? Where you shoot around lasers and try to do communication with light, right? You can communicate like binary communication with electricity is the common thing, but you can also do that with light, like the optical cables that you transcontinental optical cables, the one that goes from Europe to America, for example, with the like light. How is it in English? Yeah, where you communicate through light waves, like stuff like that. I was working in the lab. Not much with coding or machine learning. It then changed. Okay, Carson. Well, yeah, go ahead. I mean, a lot of people say that German is really tough to learn and somewhat unintuitive, and I definitely can see that. I mean, for me, it's obviously I can't like really understand. I mean, I don't feel the same because I just grew up with it. For me, it's intuitive, but I have had enough friends that had to learn German, especially when I was in Bulgaria, for example, at a German school. The little Bulgarian kids that had to learn German were always crying about how nothing made sense and how annoying it was. Okay, so let me answer Carsten's question first before I answer your question, AMD, because I think I can answer it a bit quicker. What makes you decide learning machine learning too deep? I kind of tried out machine learning in the end of my bachelor's. I thought like it was really cool to have like a robot drive from A to B autonomously. That was literally my thought. I thought it was really cool to do that, autonomous driving. And I thought, oh, that's so cool. That's so much potential for automation and stuff like that. Um, and then I just went into the courses, watched YouTube videos, and got to the math, and I really like math. So I fell in love with the machine learning math, and I really, really enjoy reading the papers and understanding the math behind that stuff. It's difficult to draw the line between how important the theory is when you are just trying to apply machine learning. Again, as a data scientist, for example, you most often don't have to really, really, really understand the math of machine learning models. You just apply them. But I, at the moment, am leaning more towards like machine learning research. Well, I'm a student researcher at the machine learning department, so it's just fun for me. I'm literally just doing things that are fun for me and that kind of makes sense, right? I would if I would just do something that wasn't really favorable for my future. I mean, sure, go for it when it's just fun, but machine learning is really fun. It's a really interdisciplinary like field that you go into, because machine learning theory is nice and good, but you have to apply it to something. And if you apply it to biology, you have to learn about the biology you are applying it to, be it proteins, be it like radiologists that you want to assist with computer vision in detecting certain cells or damaged cells. And yeah. So, AMD, what's your future plans? My future plans, well, so my dream plan would be to get an internship at a big tech company like Amazon or Google, and to have that accelerate my or increase my chances of working after my master's. I don't say that I have to work there, right? It's just it would be nice, and I don't necessarily want to work for big tech just because it's big tech, but I just think at least that there is a really high density of intelligent people, especially when you look into the machine learning research departments, right? Google and Meta are publishing so many amazing papers in the machine learning field. And I think like, wow, they are so smart people working there, and I want to learn everything they know. So for me, it's just, I would love to work there because it's just a really, really high density of smart people that are not only smart theoretically, but also are smart in industrial best practices, right? Because they work at big tech and they have certain standards they have to keep on, how to manage projects, how to communicate, and yeah, stuff like that. After that, I don't know where the tide takes me. I'm not obsessed with working at big tech. It's just for the beginning, I think it's the highest density of things I can learn that interest me. And after that, we'll see. How's the work-life balance in German unis, bro? Like, do we get free time to do some other stuff, or is it just all about studies? So in Germany, in general, it's very, very liberal, meaning you can pretty much do whatever you want, more or less, right? The recommended, or the bachelor should take 3 years, right? That's the standard amount of time the bachelor should take, but you can literally extend it to 6 years if you want to or need to, right? There are a lot of people that are in the 12th semester, although there are only 6 semesters like recommended to do it in the like perfect amount of time. But it's really no big deal to do like a bachelor's 1 year longer and to take like a few courses less, to have more time to enjoy your student life, because everyone's obviously always says that your students' years are your best years, where you have the most fun. But that doesn't mean that you don't have to study, especially in the first 2 years of computer engineering, for example. It is tough. You have to study a lot. But you're going to study because ideally you enjoy the things that you are studying and have fun by doing so. But if it's too much and you realize that you can't handle it, or want to have a bit more free time, well, then you don't take 5 courses per semester, but you take 3. And in the end, it will just take a year longer, perhaps, or 1.5 years longer. And most people won't judge you for that. So, yeah, you can just decide on your own. I'm planning to move to Germany. Hi, Ziad. I'm planning to move to Germany to study in Tübingen computer science. What are grades and language requirements? So, again, the bachelor requirements for computer science here at Tübingen are a German language proficiency test certificate of C1 or C2, I believe, depending on which like certificate you are taking. If it's this Goethe certificate, I believe it's C1, but it's either C1 or C2. And for grades, in theory, there you don't know the grade requirements beforehand. But for computer science, it's pretty much every year the same. And it is, give me a second. Sorry about that. You should try and be better than 2.1 on the German grading scale. I think that that is really the minimum requirement. But if you have like a 1.8 or 1.9, you are in, right? On a German scale again, right? You have to look how the conversions are. After the stream, I can hopefully link the PDF where a table is of how to convert grades between different countries. Maybe that would be helpful. But there aren't really much requirements. Like, it's really easy to get into computer science here. Again, just have the German proficiency test and fairly good grades. Okay, AMD, what do you think of doing your own startup in the near future, and how's the startup culture in Germany? Well, doing a startup is obviously always a big dream of any computer scientist or software engineer, because just it's not, in theory, not too difficult to just work on something. You don't have to spend huge amounts of money on hardware. You just need your laptop and just start coding. So yeah, obviously I would also be intrigued to work on a startup, but there are those two approaches, right? Either you start doing a startup and go hardcore into that and learn by doing, because you don't know anything, right? You're doing a startup with almost zero knowledge, and you learn everything by doing it, right? And you have to solve one problem after the other. Either you do, and how to manage such huge projects when you're really building out a startup is also something you have to learn on the way. The other approach that I personally also really like is, as mentioned, to first work at a recognized institution or big company like Google or Amazon, for example, and try to learn there as much as possible how they do it, how they organize projects, what their best practices are, and then on the side work on a side project or a little side hustle, and then build that out to a startup. But it's just two different approaches. But definitely, if I happen to have fun working on a project and it develops out to have startup potential, I will take that road and go down, I guess. I know I have one direction in which I want to go, but again, if it happens that a road opens up to startup land, I will go down that road. If a road happens to go down big tech company land, I will go down that road. But yeah, I'm really open, and startup culture in Germany in general is actually pretty large. So especially in Munich, Berlin, and Hamburg, I would say those cities are very known for startups. Berlin is especially known for, like, I would say, finance, healthcare, and service, like offering some services of any sort. But again, software engineers are just required everywhere. So, Batar, what's up, my man? Hey, Boris, where does Grundlagen der elektrotechnischen Messtechnik rank in difficulty of all the mandatory electronic? Because I did much better in GLED and HLW and got rolled. Oh god, Grundlagen der elektronischen Messtechnik. In my opinion, HLW was the most difficult course. Like, Grundlagen der elektronischen Messtechnik is really not that difficult, I would say. Especially if you still have the Professor Güman, I believe. It shouldn't be too difficult. Like, in my opinion, a lot of people struggled with Grundlagen der elektronischen with GLED, because it was just a jump into a new territory. It was in the first semester for most students, and that's why it was so difficult. But for me, I thought that was not that difficult, but HLB was pretty tough in my opinion. So if I try to project your situation and my situation or my experiences into your situation, I think HLB would be the most difficult one. And Grundlagen der elektronischen Messtechnik would be a bit more on the easier side. Schaltungstechnik is also a bit tricky, a bit tough. So I would say the easiest one was should I do a real ranking of the courses? So HLB definitely most difficult. Then I would say elektrische Netzwerke, then Schaltungstechnik, then GLED. So GLED was, again, in my opinion, pretty easy. And the professor was really nice. I hope that wasn't too confusing. Okay. Well, that was actually really nice. I could answer a lot of questions. I was expecting not too many questions because, first time streaming, probably not the best quality. But I'm really happy how it turned out. I got to talk a bit to you guys. It was a fairly long stream. So, and I thought like 1 hour stream would be amazing. So yeah, I guess you're welcome. I thank you very much for being here. And participating in the stream. So yeah, and thank you very much for supporting my whole channel. Like, you guys are always there. I recognize you guys, so every time you comment, I see, okay, he's back. But yeah, I'm doing my best to get better and not disappoint you guys. But yeah, trying to balance a lot of things. Yeah, no, AMD, go ahead, you can ask anything you want. I do have a girlfriend, and she's not here at the moment. In fact, she now also has her semester now starts as well, so she will have a bit more to do with her studies. Perhaps one day I might do a girlfriend reveal, but we'll see. I'll try and provide as much valuable content as possible, like that helps you be more sure about what path you want to go down, that helps you with technical skills like programming advice or whatever, working on projects that you can follow along. And yeah, volleyball guru as well. Well, I don't know if I wouldn't say I'm bad at volleyball, but I'm no professional. Okay, thanks a lot, and hope to meet you very soon. Well, yeah, live meeting, if I have enough people where it makes sense to perhaps do a viewer meetup, it's definitely somewhere on the list. But let's see if it makes sense. First thing is to try and increase quality, to try and provide or make videos that actually make sense and provide value to you guys. So yeah, if you have any wishes, definitely just hit me up, and I will see if I will be able to provide the value that you wish I can provide you. And yeah, that was it. I think that if I don't receive any further questions now, we can end the stream in a bit. Again, I'm really happy for everyone who showed up, and for all the people that watched the video after the stream and made it to the end. Thank you very much for sticking to the end. that really helps a lot. Like watch time is a huge factor in how much new viewers are reached by my videos. So yeah, let's see and hope that this YouTube journey can also continue and I can provide value to people. Okay, AMD, I hope so as well. Okay, guys, with that, I think we can end it here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much for coming to the stream, asking questions. And we'll see each other again on Friday when I will be uploading my next video. So, I guess until then, and I'll see you guys next time. Hope to see you guys too. Bye!